Daniel for being so crazy as to come on this app for weeks on end and have the most lengthy conversations in the world with people. And I mean, and be like a spokesman. So mazel tov, Daniel. You must be exhausted. I'm sending you on an all expense paid trip to Atlantis in the Bahamas.
This cheeseburger. Oh, you changed your name again.
Yes, I'm now known as Adrian.
He's not actually cheeseburger, is he?
Go to chicagocheeseburger.com. See my restaurant. We're expanding.
Can you Shanae? I don't know if it's him. Usually it says the Rabbana thing. If that's him, then it's him.
Yeah, do you want to hear Shema?
No, I want to hear the Rabbana thing.
Rabbeinu Shalom.
You see, it is him. I know what Gabe. You know what? Are you recording?
Now I am, yes.
As always.
Yeah.
But it's all private. You know, I don't know if you guys know this, but like I have no audience. Nobody even like I am shadow banned. People hate me. The algorithm hates me. Like there's no point for me to even record because there's no reason for me to come on this app unless I'm trying to create art or content or videos. There's no reason to be here.
This is art. This is art to you.
This is art.
Yeah, this is 100% artwork that I do. I create videos. I'm a video artist.
Hold on. Can you, Ethan, take your thing off? Delete what you just wrote in the chat. I'll send you.
Yeah, you know why? It's the wrong one anyway. I'm supposed to face out right now. I'm
sending it to T. I got a picture of it. I'll send it to T.
Thank you.
The chat.
I sent it to you. I made a text. I sent you a message with a text with my email. I'm gonna just erase this one. It's wrong anyway. Okay, here we go. So did you get my text?
I
I just got it from M. Thank you. I'm gonna email you later when I'm at my desk. I want to show you something. I want your opinion. So.
Oh, okay. That's cool. Hope it's cool. Hope it's a pleasant surprise. Sure it is.
It's pricing on something. I don't want to say what it is on here. I think you'll know because we discussed it before. I want your opinion on pricing and if you could do better. All right.
Okay. Well,
all right.
I hope I can.
And.
Sure. Daytime, drew him down.
Who said that?
Who can say that?
I know your voice. I can't see who's in here because I'm driving.
Who can say shit like that?
You can.
Shuki, can you stop being mad at me, please?
You think that I'm bothering myself with you? You live in what La La Land exactly?
Don't fight. My two loves, don't fight. It's too early.
I'm not fighting with him. He's just so mean. For no reason.
Because you're so stupid.
I'm not stupid.
You're beyond stupid.
Daniel, do I not fight with everybody on this app?
Yes, she does.
Okay. You come in the room for 2 seconds.
Everybody, but you are not fighting.
I'm not saying with like Jewish people. Well, even sometimes Jewish people, but I'm saying like I troll a lot of people and argue with them. Shuki, you came into a room for 2 seconds. You made an opinion about something that you didn't understand, a room that was going on for hours, and then you turned on me.
The only one who turned on you is yourself.
Okay, Shuki.
I told you, you have
don't
an
know-
issue with which side of the bed you've been walking up in the
You
morning.
don't know what you're talking about.
I know very well what I'm talking about.
Okay, so take a look at yourself in the mirror and say the same thing about
I'm looking at myself every single morning and night, and I'm proud of myself.
You used to say the same thing about the people that you hang out with on this app, okay? You used to say
Right,
the same thing about
right.
your
At least they changed themselves, and they did not troll me. You did. So shut the fuck up.
talking about? What sell you? I don't talk about you. What are you talking about?
You see, that's the beauty of Hashem. Women has long hair and very short memory.
What are you talking about, Shuki?
Never mind. It's not worth the time to even bother myself with you.
What did I sell you? You're upset about Darren? What are you upset about? Tell me.
Darren, Darius, the fake rabbi. What else? What else do you want, bitch? You want to start again?
Other people
You
talk
really
about
want to start again, bitch?
on this app. Why do you only single me out? Moshe speaks to Darius. Why do you only single me out all the time?
Darius.
Why do you single me out all the fucking time?
What happened with Darius?
He doesn't like him, so the fact that I speak to Darius and I knew Darius before
No,
me,
it's not that you
it's an
speak.
issue.
No, I don't give a flying fuck if you're speaking with him.
Listen, for the sake of not having.
I defended Darius because he was really mean to him. That's the problem.
Listen,
Exactly.
you guys are gonna go in a circle here, and you're just gonna jerk each other off. This is ridiculous.
I'm not talking to you. So if
No,
I
she's
defend
stupid. She's
somebody-
trying to start a fight that she's never gonna win. You're not gonna change my mind.
Yeah, but Shuki, why don't you just tell her, give her some advice, and leave it at that?
I don't need advice from somebody who's more than twice my age and a psychopath.
Well, that's why I mean, he does have some pragmatic, practical advice. If you guys are just going to argue and ruin your day, I mean, it's too early for that. You guys haven't even said Shema yet.
I'm allowed to have my own opinions, and I don't have to be beaten down for having my own opinions.
Well, haven't you heard how Clown House works? If you have the green bean, apparently you're a god, and you can do and say whatever you want, and
Everybody else is allowed to have their own opinions on this app, but he only holds me to a higher standard and will beat me
Yeah,
down
but this
for
is
it.
your problem. This is a you thing where your opinion of yourself is more important than Shuki's opinion of you. So, and he just said the same thing about himself. He said, you think he worries about, he loves himself. That's what he's telling you is be strong and have courage. For God's sakes, that's all he's saying. And no one on this app doesn't get their hands dirty because there's a lot of dirty people on this app, and you can talk to all of them in a safe space. That's what Daniel does. I said there's a lot of dirty people on this app, meaning there's a lot of Trump derangement, Jewish derangement, retards on this app that are basically hyper-political people. And I said you engage with them all the time in a safe space. That's the nice thing about this app is you can do communication in a safe space. I don't know if it's my phone, but I can't really hear what you're saying. I mean, anybody who has Jewish derangement syndrome just doesn't know the law. Talk to McZed down there, and he'll tell you why the justification for October 7th is total war. Everybody is retarded on this app. They don't understand the principle of fuck around and find out. Apparently, they never took physics, and they don't know Newton and the fundamental laws of the universe. So again, everybody on this app who is Trump derangement syndrome or Jewish derangement syndrome is technically just a political hyper partisan. So now that we're past the politics, is there a difference between the Sephardic Shema or the Ashkenazi Shema?
No.
Really?
Yeah. The Shema is from the 5 books of Moses. The text is written in animal parchment throughout the world. The Sephardim and the Ashkenazim say exactly the same Kriya Shema. For the brachos, meaning the little paragraphs of declaration of thanks to God, right before you say the verses, there are slight deviations, but not really. Like, they have way more deviations in, like, the psukim they decide to sing before they get to Kriya Shema. That they, like, have big arguments. Like, I want these verses. No, these verses. But what about this song? No, sing that song for Shabbos. Whatever. But, like, the Kriya Shema itself, which is the biblical obligation of prayer, that's identical. All the Jews, they say the exact same thing. Shmona Esrei differs slightly with the Sephardim. There have been different versions of the Shmona Esrei. They're all pretty similar. They're still, I don't think anyone adds a blessing. It's all 19. But they have different words.
Yeah, the only reason I say that I thought they were different, or I knew the words weren't different, but on YouTube, if you type in Shema, there's a Sephardic version, and they just use a lot of shofars in it.
Shofar. There's no shofar.
I know, it's a YouTube production.
They are slightly different versions. Like, if you go to a Sephardi shul and the community is saying Kriya Shema, they will say it differently than the way the Ashkenazim say Kriya Shema all at the same time. But they are saying the exact same words. They sing it a little differently, the Sephardi versus the Ashkenazim. I actually like the Sephardi way of doing Kriya Shema better than the Ashkenazi way.
Last time we talked, I can't remember what we were talking about, but I looked up in the Sefer HaAgadah and I reread Mordecai and Ahasuerus, and what the children told Mordecai, and why he was so elated and why it pissed off Ahasuerus. And so, I think they quoted from the book of Isaiah. Mordecai said to the children, "What did you learn in shul today?" And they quoted Psalms and Isaiah or something else. And then he was full of joy as Ahasuerus was preparing to kill them all. So to me, that is like modern day neurolinguistic programming, or essentially why Jews are successful, because if you read the information, it's extremely uplifting and powerful to one's mental health, to the psyche. And that's what a lot of these JDS, TDS people do not have. They're technically Ahasuerus in the sense that they have no positivity in their life. Then they're just full of negativity and negative speech 24/7.
No, it's probably just negative speech to anyone that's an outsider. Like, internally, I'm sure it's all positive affirmations.
Yeah, right. Have you been on this
How
app?
would be better to you?
Go to the rooms and just listen what they talk about. It's all superficial. It's all political.
It's always strangers on the internet. When they're all hanging out at their temples and everyone's dressed the same, and they're all quietly listening to the one man teaching them the ancient wisdom, they all get the satisfaction. Same technique, not rocket science.
No, I'm not talking about Jews.
If Joseph Smith could figure it out.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I have Wealth of Nations, and I was in a room yesterday listening to price fixing, And I mean, until you, and Wealth of Nations is an extraordinarily complicated book, but until you actually, I mean, no one has an understanding of what it's like to build a business. And it's no different than building a country. Whether you have a board of directors, for state council, or anyways, you get my point is that you have everybody on this app novicing their opinion with no real formal understanding or incredible amount of information. I mean, Wealth of Nations is like 1,000 pages long. It's an incredible analysis of turning a profit.
Yeah, you're trying to be scientific and enlightened about it.
Anyways, I'm not really that worried if Kamala wins, but I would prefer Trump.
Oh, I'm a little bit worried if she wins.
Well, that's the thing is like if you have faith in Hashem Rabbeinu Shalom, and you know that the president, well, I agree with you. I am concerned because I think her marriage to her husband is artificial. Just so.
God's ways are mysterious and hidden from us. You don't know what he might be protecting us from by putting Kamala in the house. I'm still worried for that as a state of affairs, but could be the plan.
I feel like she should be problematic towards Israel.
No, she won't be problematic.
You don't think so?
No, she's in the tank for Israel. No, I'm not concerned for that. It's just like more deep state. It's I don't know. To me, like as a diagnosis, it feels like proof positive. The only thing anyone in America has ever voted for, as long as I've been alive, is against someone they hate.
Yeah, that does. But I think the way that they're going to win is just mass communication hypnosis and, this power of positivity. We are not going back. They know programming. And if you watch DNC, anyways, on the first night, I filmed this one guy who had a stroke, and he was literally, did you see it? He's like talking into him.
Film the guy having a stroke?
No, it's a guy that had a stroke, and he was one of the first speakers at the DNC, and they actually let him talk into a microphone, and he was going.
Seriously?
Yeah, I swear to God.
I saw that.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, what the fuck? But
Did you ever read that old Kurt Vonnegut story?
yeah, but that's a stroke, and it was induced by the vaccine. You can Google it. Does the vaccine cause ALS? And
Seriously?
oh yeah,
I don't think that was.
Google it.
No. My question is, have you ever read Harrison Bergeron? I think it's Kurt Vonnegut.
No.
Okay, so it starts with like a really simple premise, and he takes it to absolute absurdity. Because the year was 2577, and everyone was finally equal. And then the rest of the story is just him slightly unpacking that little teaser. And the bit is, in order to make everyone equal, they have determined what the median, like, strength, intelligence, gracefulness, beauty of all of these people are, and they've counterbalanced it. So if you're too strong, they put weights on you, so now you're like slower and weaker. And if you're too smart, they put a little noise in your ear every few seconds so that you can't think too long, because that would make everyone else feel stupid. And they go on like this, and they're like, the story is about like a couple who's watching TV, and we discovered that they have a child named Harrison Bergeron, who is beautiful and amazing. So of course the cops came to arrest him because he was too magnificent, and it needed to be weakened. And then they're like watching a radio broadcast. But one of the bits is that the person they're watching do the radio broadcast is a news reporter, and he's terrible at reporting the news. He stumbles on his words. He can't remember what he's saying, and they're saying, "Oh, that's why they gave him the job, because he's terrible at this." Same thing with hiring a stroke victim to open.
So
public speaking.
My last name is Kitov, and Yetzer Tov. Do you think what we're witnessing, all this liberal, leftist, all the communism, all the gaslighting, I think that's what Yetzer Tov is.
Gaslighting is Yetzer Tov?
Yeah. It's the Yetzer, meaning that it's the evil inclination in communication.
Yetzer.
I wouldn't say speech is its own study. Like the inclinations towards good and bad are before you're speaking, when you're silent. Like, it's more primary of a force. But speech is a strange phenomenon, and it's becoming. Chafetz Chaim was like super into studying the laws of speech because, like, I think he understood. Like, he was already, when the printing press was around. The age of information and expression is absurd. The amount, like, you can spend your entire life never talking to another human being and gaining all the information of humans. Like, that's becoming more and more realistic, which is a little inhuman given the scope of history.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I would call like flow state, where you're surfing on the information. I'm just saying that, like you said, I mean, if you just spend all your time studying and you're not living in the real world, is that really productivity? No, not really.
That's a famous Pirkei Avos that says that you should love work and hate leisure. And like the rabbis discuss it because, like, the rabbis are spending all day long just studying with kids abstract laws that probably won't apply in their lifetimes, and they go, well, what is the saying? Yeah, you shouldn't just be sitting in a school studying all day. You got to get a job. And they explain, if you don't get a job, the advice continues, you're going to end up like living off of other people. Because you won't know the worth of all of the work people are putting into things. Caring for animals, growing food, maintaining structures. Like, you might have enough independent wealth, but if you're not engaged in the actual work, then you have no frame of reference. And you're just like a princeling. So they criticize that, and the rabbis agree with that. Because of that, I think that was one of the sources for the Rambam doing this. The Rambam, Maimonides, famously refused to ever accept payment for functioning as a rabbi. So he had a day job as a doctor to Suleiman the Magnificent. He was an excellent doctor, and that's how he got paid. But he was very firm that you should not make money off of studying Torah, and you should not live off of the study of Torah. You got to have a job.
I mean, is it a coincidence that the word job and Job, there's no coincidence.
I have no idea why that is. That seems like a coincidence. I don't think they're related. But I don't know.
So was God Job in the book, or was Job God?
No, Job was a person. He had a family.
So the psychedelic 1960s esoteric interpretation of Job is that Job didn't know he was God.
Job didn't know that he was God, and he destroyed his own family to teach himself that he could.
Well, I mean, this is what I've heard. I just heard it yesterday.
No, it doesn't make sense. Like, what is that? I mean, like, God is like toying around with torturing himself and seeing like what that feels like.
Maybe, but I could give you the clip if you want to hear it. It's a very interesting lecture.
I mean, like, here's the thing: if you reinterpret Job to be a story that God is telling us that he thought up about a person he created and then destroyed because Job dies, it seems like it's irrelevant. It seems identical to saying that it's just a story.
Right. It is irrelevant. I agree. It's irrelevant. But this is a lecture with Alan Watts where he talks about religion, and then he does an example where he says, let's pretend I'm God, ask me any question you want. And then somebody says, can you explain Satan to us? And he says, sure, it's esoteric, but it's all explained in the book of Job, where Satan plays the county prosecutor in the heavenly court. And then somebody says, was Job God? He says, yes, but he didn't know it. And so what he's saying is that everyone is God in disguise or God in drag. That is the philosophy behind, I guess, Neoplatonism or the immortal soul, from a 1960s LSD Taoistic, Hinduistic interpretation of the Bible or the Christian Bible. Or I think you could look at it in terms of Kabbalah. So, like, if you talk to Rabbi Andrew Meyer,
in general, the Christian notion of Satan is a huge distortion. Like, there is a Jewish notion of Satan, and because the Christian notion is more popular and familiar, people like don't have the bandwidth to understand the distinctions, to be like sensitive to it. The Satan character in Jewish angelology is more like a prosecuting attorney. He's not like a gang lord opposing the creator of everything. He's a prosecuting attorney in like a uniform acting on behalf of the governor of everything. Right? No one likes the prosecuting attorney because he's the scary guy that shows up and points out your crimes. But like we get that that's a part of a functional society. That's the better analogy.
This one.
He's not an enemy king. He's more like a loyal executioner.
Yeah, Yetzer Hara, Yetzer Tov. I mean, is
Yetzer Hara is different. Yetzer is like a creative force.
I put
So
this
Yetzer
one to
Tov
this one because of the eye.
Say what now? Shooky?
no, he's got an open
Sorry,
mic.
I just
Yeah,
know.
just mute. Shooky.
1 second, guys. 1 second.
Okay,
I'm not
fine.
next to my phone.
Yeah, so the way that when I said Yetzer Tov, Yetzer Hara, meaning that God is both evil and good, or has the creative ability to, meaning that we think Satan is separate, but really the devil is baked into the power or into the existence of
That's
God.
what I'm saying. The Satan character is more like an expression of the forces of the universe that will call to bear your bad deeds before the creator. That will decide. That will be the like the positive force in arguing in favor of your demise. The guy that says that you're not up to snuff and you should be erased from existence. The abstract force outside of you. The Yetzer Hara and the Yetzer Tov are the forces within inside you that sometimes result in a good choice and sometimes result in a bad choice. They lend towards goodness that you can create based on the choices you make, or to badness, which you can also create based on the choices you make. That's why it's like
Right.
a constructive force within you.
But then why do you hear that the Yetzer Hara, or the evil inclination, is the generative force that makes everything perpetuate and continue? Without the bad in the system, it's believed that there could be that the system would deteriorate as opposed to expand.
There were 7 solid days when God said only good. We didn't hear anything about badness until after day 7. Well, I guess day 6. On day 6, man created bad, I guess you could say.
Well, I mean, my last name is Kitov, and it says, in Genesis that after God created, he said, Kitov.
Yeah, he said everything was good. No, in Jewish conception, badness is not like a real thing. It's just like a lack of good. And when we create bad, it's just saying that we deviated from the natural goal of the universe. The universe is going in some direction, but you can take stuff off the path. Like, you're going to get there anyway. But like,
So that is a perspective. That's the perspective. That's the reframe that I think a lot of people need. That they don't know that everything is good, that everything is joy, everything is love.
No, like I said, not everything is good, because stepping off the path is like a choice you can make, and you'll get to the same endpoint anyway. But you could also live a horrible, terrible life because you stepped off the path. Like, there's a nice, smooth, easy path towards the end of all things.
Right. The baseline is good, and everybody's deviating from the norm. They're either going far left or far right.
Yeah, well, no, don't make it political. But like, they're curious, and like, part of the thing is people don't know when they're
No, not political. I mean, far
follow.
left is being the evil inclination, the left hand, and the positive being the strength and courage of the right hand. I mean, I saw a diagram of the human body broken up into the prophets. It says like Moses is your right leg, David or Joshua is your right arm. Like, there's a way to like ascribe everything to the human body through Hebrew letters and Kabbalah and things like that. Symbolically, like even the hands, your hands, each digit is said to represent one Sephiroth. Have you ever heard of that?
No. But it sounds like complex storytelling, which like you can do.
Complex story time?
Storytelling.
Yeah. Anyways,
Another version of a mnemonic.
huh?
heard
Right.
of memory palace?
Yep. Yep.
There was like a Greek guy where they discovered that technique.
Yeah, I used to use my bedroom. I used to use my childhood bedroom as my memory palace, and I took this course, and it said like when you have a memory palace, you use the object in an egregious way. So I would think of my dresser, and then like I would make it super big, or there was like ways to manipulate the image in my mind to try to like maintain the list that I'm memorizing, 20 things or 30 things or 10 things or whatever. But you use the object in a way, in like you use your fantasy, or you use your imagination to do the memorization. Yeah.
It's a move. It works.
It works for academic, but I mean, it's not like you're incorporating it necessarily into your, neshama or your psyche or your consciousness. Like it's not, I don't know, it's not, it is what it is. It's just not free flow. The thing about keywords though is a big thing. There's certain symbols in terms of a database that are like basically the most important aspects of what you could call, Hashem, like the lips or the eyes or the ears or the nose or the hands. Those are extremely powerful symbols in terms of Ribono Shalom. Oh. Anyways, Mixed, what are you doing today?
Just a little work. I can't deliver my message.
My friend did Aliyah, and he has like 2 kids, and they live in Tel Aviv. And I wonder if they came back to Chicago or if they're still there.
Oh, for the thing?
For the war, like for the war, meaning like you don't want to get hit by a rocket in your house.
PNC.
Oh, I don't think he's. Yeah, he's probably a Democrat. He was a big time Democrat in high school. He got our mascot changed from the Native American Indian to a wolf.
You got what changed to a wolf?
Our mascot at our high school was an Indian, and when you would hit a home run, like an Indian would come out and do like a dance.
That's
So
funny.
yeah, so he declared that it was extremely racist back in 2001, and then the school administration changed it to a wolf.
Well, I mean, he was right.
At the time, I was so angry with him. I was like, "You're such a fucking do-gooder and such a troll." Because like I knew him personally. I was like, I don't believe you're like, you know, this sensitive of a person. I was like, I think you're full of shit and you're political. He's like, fuck you. It doesn't matter. I got it done. I was like, Mazel tov. But he, great family. His grandfather was a podiatrist, and when he passed away, he was like, his grandfather was in the front page of the Sun Times. Wednesday. Okay, Shooky, peace. Have a great day. Talk to you.
Thanks, man. Ewan and Pearl?
Sorry. You can skip mine. I can let Pearl go first. Sorry, I'm just
Let's just do it. They're in European colonies.
Hang on for a second. I don't think your name's Pearl. Pearl, did you want to jump in? No, okay, maybe she can't talk at the moment. So Thugger, you go.
There were two types of colonies that were engaged in by the European powers. There were settler colonies in which the inhabitants of those colonies were mostly white people from the host nation, from the colonizing nation. And then there were the other colonies, right, where they were the overlords of the people who lived there. The way that people were treated in these two colonies is completely different. Completely different, right?
That's not the story in Algeria.
If you were like a settler colony, you got treated very well, right? In many cases, you got rights, you got to vote, you were considered a citizen of the host country.
I say we know that.
Like
that wasn't the story.
The overlord, but people are saying that I can't have a feeling about colonization because it's happened for 3,000 years. That was said, right?
Yeah, that was said, but that was
so let me answer to what was said, right? Don't run interference.
Way
off topic.
And then Mayo.
You're way off topic.
Thugger first. Okay. Thugger, it seems like you're running a little bit off topic, but yeah, please feel free. Continue. Try and land your plans soon, and then.
Yeah, so I mean, it's very clear that the people who are in places that weren't white, who were colonized, mostly didn't like the experience. Mostly, that's I can say that. Where whites weren't the majority, was to place a minority in a position of power over the majority. Happened in countries all over the place, right? Happened in South Africa, happened in the Caribbean, happened in Haiti, right? Haiti over the full black population, and the mulattoes all got expelled because of it, right? It is a tactic. That's how they end up leaving. That's how they're able to govern a place where they're clearly not in a majority. Is by creating ethnic strife within the country.
Okay, can we get back to Algeria? In
Absolutely.
Algeria, the Jews were indigenous to the country as long as the Muslims. The Jews were there for
communism
years.
in action.
There was an
Perfect
influx
example
of Jews that came in the 14th century, but they joined the Jewish community that was there for close to 1,000 years before that. This wasn't French Jews that were sent by France that you're trying to insinuate from Haiti and South Africa. What simply happened was the Jews were educated, the Jews learned how to read, and the Jews were able to fit into a functioning society, and the others wanted Sharia law. You're trying to make equivalences without understanding the history of Algeria that we're discussing.
Exactly, and when France asked the Muslim and Berber tribes to send their older son or daughter to the French school, they were trying to create their French identity and to, relate people around the same values. But from the Algerian narrative, they said they forced our families to send their older son or daughter, to the brainwashing machine that was the school of France. So there's always two sides of the story, and yeah, the French, even the French were there for many generations, and they were expelled. If they were leaving, the population. My family, they always said we used to listen to Jewish musicians. We would coexist with them. Our neighbors were both Christians and Jews, and we were living in harmony. But there's an elite of Algerian people, also supported by external forces from other, other countries that were interested into weakening France, that were trying to create some, to be troublemakers. And we had people in small pro-Palestinian cells in functioning in Algeria, pro-Russia, that were there and actually killing Jews. We were talking about this with Ron. So those things, you know, it has to have to be put in perspective. I don't think the revolution came from the people. It came from the narrative of an elite of Algerians that were educated, but now they're exploiting their country instead of the colonizer. So Algeria didn't ever, you know, thrived or improved since the France left. In fact, it's just getting worse and worse, and they're still blaming France for the issues of nowadays. They cannot be able to build, and people nowadays, they are fighting each other to buy a house built by France, because the structures that France has done during the colonization are the only thing that are still standing up and well conserved and functioning. So can you see, like, there are some things about the colonization that the Algerians won't admit that were positive. Sorry, Ewan.
I find that this is the case in many. It's just popular nowadays to talk about the horrors of. There were lots of issues, downsides to colonization, contact with Europe throughout the world, but on net, we're actually all still much, like, orders of magnitude better off now as a result downstream of what happened with colonization. And a lot of the individual countries that come, it's like, I remember I lived in Cairo for a bit. So much of their infrastructure that they still used was built by the British. You look at India, like, look how dysfunctional it's been since the British have left. There's a lot of examples of this. And technology alone is the thing that would not have developed to the extent it did if the colonial project hadn't existed. And we all, you know, our lifespans, our quality of life is just vastly improved as a result of it for the entire.
Look, we are not better off.
One second, I raised my hand. I just wanted to say something quick, Doug. Sorry. So, like, to Aya's point, and also to Aiden's point, that you have to understand that every situation is so entirely different. You can't look at, like, the binary oppressed versus oppressor narrative that people like to, look through the optics of nowadays everywhere. It doesn't work like that. The world is so much more complicated. And not only that, but, like, there's a lot of people that lived in Algeria that wanted the French to stay. Like, that's in every scenario as well. I mean, if you look at Afghanistan, look at what happened to Afghanistan in the U.S. Everybody would say that the U.S. just, like, colonized, like, Afghanistan or whatever. But then there was, like tons of people in Afghanistan that wanted that. Like, they literally had to flee the country, and now they're all refugees because the Taliban is going to go after them and murder their families and murder everybody around them that they love. So you can't look at any of these with any sort of binary focus. Like, you can say the same talking points, but it just doesn't work with other situations, dude.
Yeah, it's very clear that the reason why the people are running from Afghanistan is because they helped the United States. People who tend to want to, keep the colonizer around are the people who are capitulating to the colonizer when they're there and getting benefits, right?
They help the United States do what?
The people who were involved in Vichy France, right?
Well, they were about where?
They didn't want the Nazis to pull out because there was going to be retribution, right, by the people who they betrayed to help these foreigners who took over France, right? That's, like, generally what happens. The elite populations that are placed in a management role in the colony tend to be the ones who want the colonization to stay. The prime example in India. The prime example, but I'm speaking to the examples I brought up. So Asian brought up India.
You brought up Nazi.
The prime example.
Hang on for a second. Thugger, my feeling is that you might be drifting just slightly off and taking things out of context. Can I again suggest just reconsider the path you're taking, maybe treating it, cutting it short, okay, landing shortly, and let Maya respond appropriately. Thanks, Thugger.
How am I drifting? Agent brought up India, and I'm just speaking to Agent's example.
I hear you. The general sense is, and the feeling is that you are drifting just marginally off topic.
I was in the context of infrastructure and administrative organization.
I would just say that, like, you didn't pay the price, so you can't, like, do the calculus based off of hundreds of years later. This comes from, like, a Dan Carlin podcast, and he talks about colonization. You can't say, well, we're all better off, right? The people who actually paid the price, they are not better off. A lot of them are dead, right? So you can't say, like, generations later who didn't have to pay the initial price, they just got the benefit, not the downside.
Hang on, Philip, we're going to go over to Maya now. Thanks. Maya, did you want to respond then?
Yeah, that's not close to what happened in Afghanistan. Obviously, there are always collaborators that will have to, quote unquote, pay the price for joining with the collaborators. In Afghanistan, it was a very oppressive regime. Women were not allowed to go to school. Women were not allowed to walk in the streets. The people were not living, and they looked at America as liberators. It's not the best colonialist example, because America didn't, like, steal its resources and colonize it in that way. But it's not even close to what happened. Now they are back to being oppressed by a oppressive regime. And that's why they helped out the quote-unquote colonizers, not because they were, like, reaping benefits and pillaging the land for it. So it was a very bad example. I mean, Nazi Germany came in and destroyed a liberal democracy of France. So it's also not really a good example. But if you want to go push back on Aya, which is a fair pushback, I'm not sure about the exact situation in Algeria, but there are multiple African countries, so I can't cite them and go straight through it, that the indigenous government that took over from the colonizers used the same exploitive tactics of the colonizers, and the reason why they can't get out of their position is because of colonial rule that set it up. It's hard to say they're doing better when they are being exploited again, just by people that look the same as them. The reason why it's important to say that is because it's important to be honest, but it's also important to understand that it's the restrictive regimes that are oppressing the people, and that's what needs to be broken. Whether or not colonization was a good idea, which I don't think any of us are saying that, or what benefits came out of it, the path forward is to break these oppressive regimes, not to blame the colonizer. So back to what we were discussing about Algeria, you can hate whoever you want. That's okay. But to go to France because it's a much better run country and then eat the French and not assimilate doesn't make any logical sense.
I think
they seem particularly
pause for a second. Look, we're going to bring Philip in because he wants to be able to make a comment. Then Agent's got it. Then we'll go back to you, Thugger. Philip, you there? Philip, did you want to chime in? No. Okay, he's away. Agent, then Thugger.
Yeah. So I just did a quick Google search, and so just going back like the year 1500. Population of the Earth was something like 450 million people. Today, the population of the Earth is like 8 billion or so. I think that much of the expansion of the ability to sustain such a large population is in a lot of ways downstream of what happened with colonialism. For better, well, you could say for worse. You could say, like the suffering of the number of people who got crushed by the,
Second, what the speaker said, but if you look at what the delegates voted on the platform, it maintains a strategic military advantage. It's committed to the safety and security of Israeli. It's committed to the weapons deal. Daniel,
that's not the point. You're missing the point.
No, please let me finish.
You talk because it's
Daniel. למה אתה קופץ כל הזמן מתוך דיבורים של אחרים? למה אתה עושה את זה?
Because you're missing the point, and I know this.
Maybe I'm making a different point.
Exactly, and I don't want to move to a new point. I want to make my point before you move to a new point about like the...
Right, מי שם לך שר ושופט עלינו?
What are you talking about? Okay. I would say it in a minute, but you want to have your speech? Have your speech.
We're having a conversation, Daniel.
Yes, and I wanna like before you go on a rant for something that I'm not talking about, convincing me of something that I know. I think it's pointless. If you wanna waste the time on this point, this is not the point I was making. I was trying to make.
This is not how a conversation works. I'll shut up. Go ahead. You monopolize the room. Go ahead. Like you always do. Go ahead.
Mentality. No.
It's not a victim mentality. You have no patience for other people to speak.
I'm done, Caleb. I'm done. Thanks.
Good. I'm done too. Good.
Yeah. Right.
Well, since you're both finished, I mean, I actually did want to hear what Caleb had to say, Daniel.
No, Adrian, your crackling mic. You need to change that phone, dude. It's horrible.
Is mine
Anyway,
okay?
but Kayla,
Am I Matrix or is it good?
No, you're not in the matrix, but you just come in the room and start talking over people, and that's not going to happen. So, Caleb, to your point, to the point that you were making about not really having to do with foreign policy, these national conventions, I just want to refer to what Phoenix was saying, that someone in U.S. territory burning a flag, which is completely permitted under the freedom of speech, but saying we need to burn America down, that is almost like a threat. No, I don't know if almost, but it's a threat of violence, you know? And so how come that someone is allowed under American Constitution to say America should die or America should get burned to the ashes on American soil? So that person should be put behind bars.
That seems to run against your free speech absolutism.
No, because it's a call for violence.
It's a call to action. It's different. It's not under.
It's a call for.
That's what I said. Burning the American flag, fine. It's covered under.
Nobody burned the flag inside of the convention.
No, it doesn't matter. I'm not talking about. Listen, I'm saying burning the flag. Okay, I know it's protected, but saying let's bring death to America. America should be burned down. That person is doing a call for violence.
Quote the speech.
Let us all burn down.
I want to see the line. I want to see the line in the speech.
Okay. I watched the speech and I can share it with you later, but I'm just saying. Okay, assume it happened. Why wouldn't they put that person in jail?
Because I don't think it's the same as calling fire in a movie theater.
It's completely different situation. Calling fire in a movie theater is prevented so that there is no panic and people don't die. That's not a call for violence. Now, saying America should die and America should burn to whatever, that is a call for violence.
Isn't it like saying, hey, you guys, let's all come together and burn America to the ground? And you have an entire crowd there standing over there. What do you call that? Is that not an incitement to violence? Because you have an entire crowd waiting, and you're the only one who has a microphone saying to people, let's burn the whole place to the ground.
Who gave this speech?
It's just a random dude in front of the convention burning a flag.
Oh, so fine. So it's not even. That's fine. So it's not even in the convention. It's protesters
Dude,
outside.
I'm not talking about in the convention or out the convention. It doesn't matter. It's someone making a call for violence. That is not protected because it becomes criminal.
Until it becomes criminal, I don't think you can. Until it's decided that it's criminal, I don't think you can. No, but somebody has to make that judgment, right? And I'm not sure that
it's a call for violence.
I think that legally speaking, there's a question of the time that it takes between the speech and the action of violence. And if it's not imminent, then the call is not really prohibited.
Okay, Diego, do you have anything? Because you're the lawyer, dude. Diego?
Proportionality.
No, not proportionality, immediacy, imminence.
Does working in a law firm make him a lawyer? He was a paralegal.
That's right.
Well, actually, not even a paralegal. He just left with a lawyer, and that's all that happened. He absorbed knowledge. Yeah.
I think the health of a democracy is partly exhibited by if people can say that they want to tear down the country. I think that's
then why would you then blame Trump for the things that happened on January the 6th?
Because he asked for it. Because he asked for it.
The context is, I see how he went. Okay.
But is he being prosecuted for that?
Yes.
I have to ask.
Being prosecuted on financial.
He was impeached for that.
And what happened to him?
Exactly, but then you were happy for it to happen. You were like, oh yeah, this guy is a threat to democracy.
Well, so let's see.
And listen, and what he said, was not even remote what this other guy is saying.
The difference is that people followed him and did something. Let's see if the people follow this random guy outside.
The difference is that it's a person you don't like, so you're happy with the double
No, it's not. That's a straw man. I'm not having the double standard. That's a straw man.
Caleb, do you think you have Jewish derangement syndrome, though? I mean, Trump derangement syndrome.
No.
I don't necessarily think you do either, but I think Diego has Jewish derangement syndrome, and I would lump them together in the same bucket, meaning that it's a derangement syndrome.
Well, if you understood me, you might not call it that.
Anyway, Daniel, honey, you wanted to say something on this as well about AOC saying with Kamala Harris doing efforts in the Middle East. I want to hear her speech. I just saw a clip of like 20 seconds.
I saw like this just one sentence, like this the entire thing.
Somebody superimposed Adolf Hitler on her, and it actually looked like she was Hitler.
It's about like they're trying to appease, and I think that what they, instead of taking a stand, like an absolute stand, they're trying to appease. I think what they're missing is that it doesn't appease anyone. It actually makes their appetite grow stronger. The more they want to put more demands, with more energy and more violence and more whatever destruction. So either you take a stand and face the consequences, or either will be sucked in. And this is like feels a bit dancing around. Maybe like we would do A, but in order to appease the crowd, we'll say something else in order to not upset the pro-Hamas people.
Yeah, that's what we were talking yesterday. Remember when we were wondering? Well, not yesterday, Sunday. When we were wondering if they would actually make a strong stance for Israel, or if they would just dance around it. And I actually was the one saying that I don't think that they would make a strong stance, because otherwise they would lose their voters that are all free Palestine,
When AOC said what she said, and listen to it from a pro-Palestinian ear, okay? So, Carmela is working tirelessly on ceasefire in Gaza and the release of hostages. Not our hostages, not even their hostages. Because in their narrative, Israel also
so it says our hostages?
She didn't say our, she just said hostages. General term, not even.
Well, the U.S., honestly, of course, if they are going to be an intermediary between Hamas and Israel, they should talk about all the hostages. But honestly speaking, America should really try.
You missed the talk about the hostages that Hamas took, not prisoners.
Yes.
Israeli prisoners.
That's what I said. That's what I said.
No, but we don't have. There are no hostages. But AOC is trying to kind of appease to this narrative that Israel, the Palestinian prisoners, are labeled also as hostages.
Okay, I get it. Sorry.
She didn't mean those people. She didn't mean those people.
No, she didn't mean it. This is exactly the dancing around. She meant the Israeli hostages because this is.
Now we're rebuilding highways, bridges, and tunnels. Homie, sometime you can work hard.
Palestinian, what you will hear would be like, okay, ceasefire, releasing of the like.
To be together, that we write new rules to make it easier. Nobody cares.
We don't agree with that either, but that's what she's doing.
don't think she's doing that at all.
Doesn't agree with the interpretation.
I don't agree with the interpretation of her speech. I don't agree with that.
Yeah, because Caleb has got an internal fight because the party he supports is not for the principles and the values that he stands for.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
Caleb.
Don't psychoanalyze me.
Go on, you know.
I want to know what David Bobadilla thinks about this.
Yeah, I don't think that. I think you have more values than them, and they don't represent your values.
I've never voted for anybody besides a Democrat, and I don't foresee that I will vote for anybody besides a Democrat ever.
Oy
Even
vey.
if that means that they shit on your country, that they destroy your country, and then
It depends.
they also.
It depends. It depends. Let's see. I don't think they're into destroying the country.
Caleb, do you think there's a gender to democracy?
For the things that I care about, healthcare, certain economic policies, the things that I. Okay, fine. If you guys are just going to interrupt all the time, I'll just shut up.
That's a pretty blatant admission that you don't have any morals, because the Democrat Party has changed at every single one of its positions in our lifetime. So it could be you went along with it, but to say I will always vote Democrat is a ridiculous statement, because the Democrats are constantly changing their positions. Like, why?
But Meyer, that's what.
Republicans. So are the Republicans. This is so wild. Everybody's
correct. Republicans have changed when their positions.
Guys, if you want a right-wing echo chamber just to beat up on liberals, that's fine. I'll leave.
Nobody's saying that.
You can do your whataboutism, but I'll answer you.
I'm not doing whataboutism. You guys are off your rocker this morning.
Wait, when you say so have the Republicans, that's definitely whataboutism.
Caleb.
Republicans have changed all of their.
No, it isn't. It's not whataboutism. It's let's.
Caleb, you're all or nothing. How are you always going to vote Democrat? What's wrong with you?
I'm not all or nothing. You guys are misrepresenting me all over the place. I make one statement and you blow it up into some kind of. No, you guys want to sit here all day and blast the leftists and communists and socialists and blah blah blah. You guys are not interested in a serious. You're not interested in a serious conversation, Mayor. You are not a serious man on this political conversation. No, I don't. No, I don't.
So you're the one that doesn't have a real conversation. Because
I'm only responding to your guys' intransigence to hear other points.
In 2016, when Trump won, I was going to become a Democrat, and I listened to the Democrats. And what happened in 2016 was the Democrats have gone even crazier, and I reluctantly had nowhere left to go. And there is no more Republican Party that I would like to vote for. So it's true that the Republicans have changed everyone.
Wait, so you were a Democrat, Meyer?
I was always a Republican. In 2016, when the Republicans have lost their mind and nominated a clown as the top of the ticket, I made a much more sympathetic ear to the Democrats and said, no, my party.
Did you just call our orange MAGA one a clown? How dare you?
I just called Donald Trump a clown, because he's a clown. But what happened
Why is he
was,
a clown?
we could go through that in a moment, but
Just let him finish his whole statement.
This is 2016 Trump. I can tell you a lot of the clownery he did in 2016, and then again in 2020.
Nationalistic for you, I get it.
No, he wasn't too nationalistic for me. He didn't
Yeah,
say
for some reason that
anything.
strikes fear into the hearts to choose.
Oh my God.
Okay, so now we can know. What happened was the Democrats for about 24 hours I agreed with them, and then they went crazy and they started making stuff up that were clearly not true, and their policies were even worse. I had nowhere left to go, so I was one of those like hold your nose and vote for Trump. So yeah, my allegiance weren't to the party. I had nowhere to go when the Republican Party has lost its way. Now, if you want to know why I think Trump was a clown in 2016, you have to go back 9 years. Remember, he didn't campaign on anything serious. He said things like, we're going to build a wall and Mexico will pay for it. I'm all against...
Meyer, you're horrible then.
I'm all against illegal immigration. I'd like to have legal immigration, but building a wall and Mexico will pay for it.
You're horrible then.
It's pretty funny when Jews are against walls. It's a bit...
Yeah,
so you... First of all, I didn't say I'm against walls. I said it's never going to happen. It was a clownish idea. So I don't know who's against walls. I mean, you want to go ahead.
the wall was never built and Mexico didn't pay for it because it was a clownish idea. He also said, I will repeal Obamacare, which was a terrible piece of policy. It should be repealed. But then he said, I will replace it with something much better. Now, what is that? Is that single payer? Is that free? Is he going to make actual free market healthcare, which I would love to have in this country? He never specified. He never said. And when asked, he would just say beautiful and better. That's a clown. And I can go through policy after policy where he was not clear. He also said, I will put Democrats in my cabinet. He also said that we should imprison doctors, and people told him that's not Republican position to imprison doctors. Prison women that have an abortion. That's not the right-wing position. He changed his mind because he speaks conservative as a second language. He was not a true conservative. He's not a fiscal conservative. He's a New York Democrat, has been a New York Democrat his whole life, and he was a clown. Now, was I proven wrong in his administration? Did he do a better job than I expected? Yes. But he ran his campaign in 2015 as a clown.
For Israel.
He did not see anything serious or any reason why we should take him seriously.
I think it's concerning that American Jews are not defecting to the Republican Party because they think the Democrats are less pro-Israel than they usually.
Okay, so Jim, I think you either have a hearing comprehension or you were waiting the whole time to say you hate Jews.
No, I
was a Republican my entire life. I voted for Trump twice, never in a primary, and I will vote for him again. I did not vote for him in this primary either. My issue is not the Democrats are better than Trump. My issue is Trump ran his campaign in 2015 as a clown. He was not propagating conservative values. He was pushing himself. He was pushing populism. Of course, it's my opinion. That's why I'm saying it. But you're not pushing back.
I think it's preposterous.
He completely destroyed the Tea Party.
In the election, he clearly appealed to the sensibilities of the majority of the people. Well,
that's because he won against Hillary Clinton. She's the most unpopular person in the planet besides the Kamala Harris.
Well, she won the
popular
vote,
against.
so that's something.
Oh my God, you're an idiot. He completely destroyed the country's debt. He did not do anything good fiscally. He was not a conservative. Because the other side of the aisle is a woman that wants to destroy our tax law. She is a Marxist, literally. Her father was a Marxist.
Kamala Harris is not a Marxist.
Her father was a Marxist professor.
Speak about price fixing?
Yeah, but price fixing, I'm much, and besides, what you should have asked me I now have 4 years of history. In 2015, Trump said nothing. Now I have 4 years of executive orders that I can say he did a lot better job than I assumed in 2015. I still think I had a right to assume that he'd be a clown in 2015. And the only reason he legislated on conservative is because the Democrats pushed him away with both hands. The moment he won, he said, I'll put the Democrats in my cabinet. He tried to extend the olive branch. They pushed him away and created who he became. So I had no way to know that the Democrats would be so stupid that they would create Donald Trump.
You want to talk about the topic? Really, with a sound political understanding. Yes, that's exactly what would happen because you guys are the club.
Who's you guys I'd like to know?
Of course, the Jews. Diego, I'm sorry.
I didn't say that.
You went
I was talking about
so we couldn't really hear.
But Diego, I'm not a Democrat. I've never voted Democrat. I looked at what Democrats have to say in 2015 because I didn't like who the Republicans nominated. My only point of this entire share, which everyone seemed to miss, was you should not have absolute allegiance to your party. You should keep reassessing your party. The Republican Party has, but now the Republicans sound like the Democrats did. Democrat Party. So if you're a Clinton Democrat,
that's insane. That's an insane thing to say.
It is insane that it happened, but
they don't sound like the Democratic Party. Not a chance.
If J.D. Vance spoke at Clinton's convention, he would have fit right in. Every word he said there belongs straight into
no way.
Okay, listen to it again. Listen to it again.
Bill Clinton?
Bill Clinton. No, Hillary became much more progressive. Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton in 1992 ran more to the left, and then when he lost the Congress and lost it bad, in 1996, his convention, if you would put J.D. Vance in there saying, I'm from the government and I'm here to help, he would have fit right in there.
I don't
know. No question. Okay, listen to it again. Listen to it again.
Listen to it again. You're so overconfident, man.
Okay.
At least you should say, I believe. This is my take.
What policy?
You shouldn't speak so confidently.
No, so convince me. What policy has J.D. Vance proposed that would not have fit into the Democrat Party of 1996?
He's anti-abortion. Clinton's stance was safe, rare, and legal.
He's actually not. Have you heard his interview? I think it was with CNN, and they asked him this question about abortion. He said that he is just in the same place with Trump, that he agrees with the appeal, and that he would bring it. I mean, he would like it to have to be at the state level. But he is not banning abortion in any way.
He would like the states to ban abortion.
Okay, apart from abortion, is there any other policy that would have...
Economic policy, healthcare policy. He was not aligned with the Clinton of the 90s, not a chance.
He's right there with Clinton on healthcare.
All right, well, I have to go teach some actual Jews some actual things instead of you.
Oh, wow. Well, he said it's true that philosophically he's against abortion, but what I did say was his speech, which he didn't mention abortion. If you go through his speech, that speech could have been played at Clinton's convention.
This is I'm sorry, I cannot believe this is a rabbi. No rabbi will say actual Jews. I'm sorry. It just doesn't make sense.
You know he's a conservative rabbi, right? It doesn't exist.
I don't know what kind of rabbi, but
a conservative rabbi
that will say to you, actual, like I will talk to actual Jews. Like I don't know any rabbi.
Daniel, there's like 10,000 caliphs in America. Welcome to American Jewry.
I never met any of them. Well, I never met, like, this is why I'm kind of really surprised by the way he behaves and the way that he talks and his values. This is very not part of, like, what I know.
You have to look at American Jewry in terms of programming. Everything he said is a highly programmatic memory, and what he said is what a lot of Jews think and feel by the fucking hundreds of thousands.
Listen, we also have an employee cousin, they also don't represent us, but
the Twitter card is a very different problem than him. This is a whole
And the Turi Karta needs to go to a psych ward and start taking medication.
And Twitter cards are attention seekers. There's like about 100 of them, and they're it's the media that's the problem. They keep putting them.
Which rabbi?
They don't have a rabbi. They're a group without leadership.
Listen, they claim they're not political, but they go to every political event there is. They're hyper political.
It's Caleb a rabbi.
Yeah, but it's conservative.
Oh, I didn't know. No, but I just didn't know.
Conservative? He's as reform as they come. I'm surprised he doesn't sing songs to Jesus.
I like Caleb. It's just that he really is pro. I mean, when it comes to social policies, he's very lefty. But when it comes to economic policies, I think that he's very capitalist. And that's the reason why I told him the other day, like, I thought, like, I think he is more right than he thinks he is, you know? And it's also a perception of, like, other people that he's super lefty, but I don't think he's super lefty. Other than the social aspects, you know, like, for example, abortion and DEI and all this kind of stuff, yeah, he is very, very lefty. But when it comes to economic policy, I was actually surprised how much we are aligned.
You know, when people use the term economics or economy, and then even when you talk to economists, it doesn't matter if they're mathematicians or scientists, they're still political. And if you don't criticize the Federal Reserve and what the Federal Reserve is and does, basically the banking industrial complex, I mean, that's the thing. I don't really think there's anything wrong with it. I think we live in an equilibrium. And economically speaking, Kamala Harris, aka and Waltz and the Chicago mayor and Obama, they are hardcore communists. And they're not just socialists, because I think communism goes that one step further where it becomes... The worst thing is they are so deceptive in their communication, and they are so good at it that I think they're going to win. I cannot see... Because of the propaganda and mixed with the Dominion voting systems, I think they're going to win 100%. I would bet money if I had enough money to actually bet on this. I think it's a good bet, in my opinion.
So, Edmund, here's my pushback that they're going to win. I think there's a good chance they will win. But the reason why I think we can't safely say they win is you have to look at Trump's high watermark. That was after the convention, after the assassination, and after the debate. He was comfortable
was sailing straight through, so comfortably winning that they had a coup and they pushed out Biden. Kamala Harris is now at her high watermark, and it's a 50-50 toss-up. So it's his position to pull this through if he stays on course. Now, Trump is capable of putting his foot in his mouth and blowing it. But if he stays on course, he could pull through easily.
See, you're still talking about the past. I'm talking about the now. People
I actually have made that bet already with Diogenes a few months ago. And I bet that Trump was not going to be the president.
Well, I think you're going to win that bet.
He's fully capable of blowing it.
I think so too.
I mean, he's fully capable. If Trump loses, which is right now 50-50 toss-up, it's because he didn't campaign well. If he campaigns well, he will win.
I think Nikki Haley was correct when she stated that the people were very clear that they didn't want either Trump or Joe Biden.
Double hater.
Could you imagine if Nikki Haley was the candidate right now and she was going against Kamala? Obviously, Kamala would destroy her and win.
Whoever the first party was to give them a choice other than Trump and Biden was the one that was going to win.
See, you are a little bit like Meyer Thugga in the sense that you still talk about the past if you want to fast forward to now.
I was talking about now. I'm saying if you look at who's in the better position, there's more people out there that Trump has available to convert than Kamala does. Because we saw the high watermark. We saw the embedded fees.
Well, this is a little bit like this is bias in the sense that because of the DNC and essentially this giant theatrical production, which is far longer than the RNCs. I mean, why don't we have equal production value between the parties? Because honestly, like in communism, socialism, we're going to need equality between the two parties. I'm just saying, if the events aren't equal in terms of spectacle, it's not real, true equality.
That's up to the party to do it. It's not up to who.
So you mean to tell me that people win based on who creates the best party?
That's part of it, yeah. if you have a better message, if you have a better dissemination, if you manage to control the media, then yes, you can win. If Kamala Harris was asked of a real interview and the media demanded it of her and said, "Sit down, we want to hear your policies," she would not win. If Trump had to answer real questions in 2015, he would not have won the primary.
Really? Why do you say that?
Because she doesn't have policies.
No, I'm saying Trump. Why do you think Trump back in 2015 couldn't answer anything? He knew exactly what was on the hearts and minds of Americans, which was the border.
He did. The border was an issue, and the other one was all bias. He spoke about the border, but he gave a clownish response.
Listen, you keep using the word clown, and that's cool, but do you know that the clown is the fool, and the fool is a magician? The fool is a hermit. I mean, this is all alchemical.
Yeah, that's cute. But what Trump actually did at the border was stay in Mexico. He added agents, and he actually secured the border. He didn't build a wall like he campaigned on. Now, if you want to say build a wall was just a slogan, that's fair to say now. But in 2015, it was also fair to say he doesn't have real policies. Build a wall and Mexico will pay for it is absurd.
Well, that's fine, but why can't you congratulate a man for at least winning?
Because you keep coming back to 2015. What do you mean for winning? Yeah, you won.
I mean, you're saying that he wasn't successful in his communication. He won as a clown.
I didn't say that. I said had they had a real policy debate, not a joint interview of 16 people where you get a 2-second soundbite, and then when they discussed foreign policy, he was quiet for literally a half an hour, and then he had a good comment against Jeb Bush, and then he was quiet for 25 minutes. He would not have won.
But he shouted down Jeb Bush saying your brother was in charge of the country. He let 9/11 happen.
That's not a real thing to say.
You have to understand that he said things that are lurking in the subconscious mind of Americans, and that's why he fucking won the vote.
But you're not arguing with what I said. What I said was, if there was a real debate with proper policy, he would have won. He played the system and played it well.
Okay, but this is politics. What do you expect? This is politics. This is how you do it. It's personal. It's attacks.
I think you both are speaking over each other.
I am so confused. You're the one that said that we
that you said.
I'm being facetious. I'm saying we're going into communism. Well, sorry, I'm not totally sincere and authentic like Kamala, our new communist overlord.
Well, Trump definitely did as well.
This is not the high watermark for Kamala. That'll be after the DNC. She has
Let's
to
say.
grow, baby.
What do you think it will
Let's
be?
to grow. She's going to easily win the popular vote and get to 270. I'm about to get my Kamala hat. That's going to be the camo hat.
I agree with you. I can already see it in my mind's eye. She's going to be the first Madam President.
Sure is, and we're going to have our
And it's going to be horrible.
Jewish person in the White House.
I honestly don't.
I think it would be.
Who's the first Jewish person in the White House?
Her husband.
No, the first
gentleman.
Yeah, the first gentleman.
But Thugga, can't you admit that she's going to be the biggest hypocrite president we've ever had in the history of America?
How? She doesn't say anything. How's she a hypocrite?
She is. I'm telling you
She
that.
has a new word. Have you heard that she has got a new word now? It's return on investment. She repeats it like every time she's being asked a question.
I heard that one.
So does that mean that's the first time she's ever used that term in her life? She just. It's like Donald Trump learning drain the swamp.
That was her first question she was asked in a month, and the only thing she said was return on investment, and she did not answer the question.
Yeah, like 5 times. Like how the question? I don't know if it was the same guy that you saw, but I saw this morning somebody asked her, "How are you planning to pay for all of the economic policies you are laying out there?" And she's like, "Oh well, I'm talking about schools and the children and the return on investment from education and the return on investment in communities and the return on investment. So it'll pay by itself with the return on investment."
But it wasn't. She didn't answer the question. It's like you tell me you want a Lexus. I say, "How are you gonna pay for it?" You like when it has leather seats and a great cruise control. I'm like, wonderful, but how are you gonna pay for the damn thing?
Yeah, exactly. But that's what she said.
But
the correct answer is
return on
investment with the return on investment.
She used the term return on investment for what she was getting, not for the return on investment.
I
She
know,
was like, for the prompt.
honey.
So the correct way to answer that question is to say, look,
we're gonna fall in America.
We're gonna raise tax on rich people, but let's be clear here. When Republicans do what they want to do, they don't ever figure out where the money's coming from. They just spend on the credit card, right? Those tax cuts never pay for themselves, and no one seems to ask them where they're getting the money to do the things that they want to do.
Let's play a game.
You said, let me finish. I'm giving you the way that you should answer the question. Joe Biden has spent less in his administration, as much as these Republicans are talking about debts and deficit. Joe Biden has spent less in his administration with all the policies that he passed than Donald Trump did in his 4 years. That's the way.
But see, that's as if you're reframing Republicans and speaking for Republicans. You're just a thugga Democrat communist faggot.
I think she's not, the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I think all the attacks on her are
well, according to Democrats, they're
really overstated.
So the Democrats had 2 requirements to make her vice president: a woman and black. And according to them, she's the best black woman in the country, which is kind of really says a lot about Democrats.
No, she's the best one who was loyal to the DNC, like loyal above all. She would do whatever they told her, and had a personal relationship with Joe Biden's son. That was her main. Those 4 things were her main qualifications.
And that she's black.
Yeah, that was one of the 4.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's crazy.
The Trump campaign has got 2 white guys on the top of the tickets. They've always had for all of history.
It's what? It's what? 2 white?
2 white guys, as the Republicans have always. They've never had anything but 2 white guys.
But why does it matter if there's
what's funny is Sarah Palin is more popular than this VP is right now, because they picked a weirdo online trad cap convert to be the nominee.
Wait, how many things that he did weird? Like, what's weird here?
Yes. You want me to tell you? So one of the weird things that he does is he reads a lot of Curtis Yarvin, mentioned Mulbug, right? Most people find that weirdo monarchist fascist to be weird. The second weird thing that he does is he says he wants to ban abortion at the federal level, and he said explicitly.
Okay. First of all, he didn't say that.
I'm giving you. I guess he did. He said explicitly in a podcast. That the federal government should have a role in limiting abortion, because if the federal government doesn't have a role, wait, let me finish.
Keep lying. Limiting on
I'm telling you what he said. I'm giving you.
Okay, let him finish, and then you rebate what he's saying.
Yeah,
he
said that the federal government should have a role in limiting abortions, because if not, the pro-life movement will fall apart, because they're obviously not going to win at the state levels in terms of limiting abortions. I'm adding that second part. They're obviously not going to win at the state level, but that's what he said in one of his podcasts. He also held out with this
weird. No, it's like you don't agree with
it.
No,
this is super. No, not to you, right? But not to very online non-Americans, right? But to most Americans, this shit is weird. That's why he's the least popular VP in the history of like taking polls on them.
I kind of remember Kamala Harris. I kind of remember Kamala Harris's poll numbers. They were a lot lower than his.
Put it in the chat.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if I'm not wrong, Kamala Harris is less popular vice president.
No,
I mean she didn't even win one vote, but yeah,
that's false. JD Vance.
Yeah, dude, she didn't even make it to the primary.
Run and then not win any votes. He didn't run at all.
Here, I'm putting it in the
Gavin
chat.
Newsom also didn't win any votes.
JD Vance is the least popular VP in modern history. I'm placing it in the chat.
Okay, so this is the Democrat game. Call anyone you disagree with weird.
He is
because
weird.
You think,
no.
Okay.
Yo, he's like, first off,
there you go. Say it one more time. Weird.
But Thugger, you're gayer than he is.
Here's another weird aspect. He is a white dude who was converted to Catholicism. Now, I'm married into. Let me explain why that's
super weird.
It actually is.
We don't want to know about your personal life, Thugger. We don't care.
The Catholic Church.
It was like 15 years ago that we got the first black.
Yo, can you guys let him finish? Damn.
He's the one that got keeps cutting off.
The Catholic Church is hemorrhaging white people in the United States. The only reason the Catholics have maintained their share of the population in the United States, the total share, is because of Hispanic immigration. They would be precipitously dropping off if there wasn't this large influx of Hispanics who are Catholic, right? So, white people who choose to convert into Catholicism who are not cradle Catholics are very strange, right? They tend to be. They also tend to be very. They do care. They do in fact care, because the things that Catholic converts, it's like a saying that Catholic converts are extreme. The zeal of the convert, right? This is a big thing. They tend to have very, very weird.
Just because you're emotional and say it's a big thing doesn't mean it's a big thing.
His poll numbers say it's a big thing.
Okay, you convinced me.
He's clearly a far-right intellectual.
He's obviously a far-right intellectual.
He's not far-right.
Yo, he hangs out. He hangs out with Rod Dreher, who is at Catholicism. I used to regularly read Rod Dreher's blog for years. Rod Dreher is literally like the propaganda minister now for Viktor Orban. He's super fucking weird.
Okay, whenever a Democrat ends a sentence with weird, I'm going to start hitting a bell. Say it again, I'm hitting a fucking bell. Is that weird that I do that?
You convinced me.
Not all, like, it's just,
yes.
A lot of far left, like, it was a virtue for progressives to be weird all these years, and all of a sudden it's being majority.
Wait, agent, are you back?
He convinced me. I'm Kamala Harris, can't answer a question and giggles. She waves her arms, and all of her policies are Marxist, but he's weird.
That's weird.
You're gonna let your
It might be weird. I've
country
always
burn down.
JD Vance wants to punish people who don't have kids by making them pay.
That's weird.
Let me just hold on. So for social reasons, you mean that if you vote for Donald Trump, you're gonna not have friends anymore, or what does
Well,
it
I
mean for
was
social
thinking of
reasons?
voting for RFK, but I think RFK is just gonna like fold into the Trump camp. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
the problem is that if you vote for RFK, you're just gonna dilute.
Dilute what?
Listen, Rabbi, not everything's about dilution. Some people vote with their hearts and their minds and their souls.
Didn't you see the interview, Issa, where the RFK chick said that they're thinking about whether they want to join the Dems or the Republicans?
Yeah, I didn't see an interview, but I heard a comment somewhere saying that actually RFK had dropped or mentioned or implied in one of the times that he spoke.
No, just recently. He did his own podcast about it.
Well, yeah, but I didn't hear it from him. I heard it from someone.
Both him and Shanahan came out and said they're gonna go.
That he was speaking about joining Trump, actually, I heard. Because what he is actually, I mean, he's not going to join the Democrat Party, the party that rejected him, that didn't.
Never say never.
And also, he disagrees with all this communistic and socialist approach. So he said that he might want to join Trump.
Never say never.
JFK would join the Republican Party today.
It is really fucked up, like how they've treated. They've done all sorts of tricks to
On RFK?
Yeah, and
Politics in a
100%.
big bag, bro.
the worst thing they've done is not give him Secret Service protection. Even
Oh, that
after
was
Trump
really
got
fucked
shot.
up, yeah. That's
They
why.
didn't even do that for Trump.
Yeah, I mean, who goes to? I mean, even Trump though should have taken personal responsibility and been like, "Hey, you dumb bitch, get up there and get on that fucking roof before I make this fucking speech. Get off your fucking cell phone, you fat fucking dyke. Get the fuck up there."
Service protection, getting Melissa McCarthy, protecting him for sure.
Well, he had Secret Service. I'm not sure about protection.
I know it's hard for this. I mean, it was friendly fire, right?
He was
shot by
making a
another
joke.
Republican. It wasn't something that.
Well, he wasn't a Republican, but he
was.
He registered. He registered as Republican in the state so he could influence the Republican election. He donated money to Democrats. He was clearly
Meyer, what he did was genius, though. You can't discount his success or his victory. He brought the kingdom of God to the American people, and he will do it again.
Can I get him on that, please?
I think Trump should. He needs to go to therapy because he's obviously damaged from being shot, and I'm not saying that as a joke. I think it's totally normal if you almost get your head blown off to be kind of fucked up by it. And I think that he actually does need.
Yeah, but you've sucked a dick. I mean, he's never sucked a dick before.
Actually, he seems more normal than ever.
Yeah, gotta.
He actually kind of goes.
Yeah, I mean, his ear healed so quickly that clearly he has great genetics. He's obviously the perfect man. He's handsome. I mean, I'm buying oranges and orange crayons and passing them out at the DNC right now.
Okay, so how about the support for Israel and the wars going on around the world? Kamala was the one inciting Russia-Ukraine to happen.
I think
almost nobody in America is going to vote on that. Almost nobody's going to vote on that.
I don't think whatever she said.
Wait, that's not part of the plan. No one in America.
Hold on. No matter what words came out of Kamala's mouth, no matter what words came out of her mouth, I seriously doubt that Putin took that it weighed at all in his decision as to what to do. Biden, on the other hand, you could argue. I don't think that he would have invaded if Trump were president, only because I think he was afraid of what might happen. Trump is too much of a wild card, and had already previously threatened to nuke Putin personally if he invaded Ukraine. So I think that was a deterrent that Joe Biden.
Oh yeah, I'm sure Donald Trump would have nuked Putin if he would have invaded Ukraine. What the fuck's wrong with you?
He would not. And
but I do think one thing with this election, I really think people don't even know. It's not being discussed in the public discourse, but it should be a referendum on the war, because I do think Trump will bring an end to the Ukraine war, some sort of ceasefire, some sort of settlement there, where Russia gets to keep some of the land for sure. Whereas, I'm sure that Harris will continue the Biden policies and just try to bleed Russia as long as possible. That is the policy.
But most Americans don't care about Ukraine war or the Israeli Gaza war.
They do care. You know why?
Most
Because there are
They don't care.
No, Thugga, they do care. They do care. No, Thugga, they do care. They do care.
No, he's right. They don't care.
Please.
No, he's right. They don't care. Actually, what's going on is the people demonstrating at the DNC and Kamala kowtowing to them is because they hate America and they hate capitalism. They don't care about Israel. They don't care about Palestinians. They hate America. So she should turn to them if she was a real patriot and say, "This is America. These are our values." But she won't, because she's a Marxist.
So Americans don't care about foreign wars.
Americans do care about foreign wars. Americans do care about foreign wars. Americans do care about foreign wars.
This Adrian guy, please.
You say that they're...
Fucking awesome. Proved my point beautifully. Namaste.
I believe in no shit like that. Bones. Where did they find? No, I'm not talking about bones. I'm talking about with skin. I'm talking about with skin. No, with
Yes,
skin
they do.
on them. With skin on them. They found this white. They found this white dude up in like someplace. You would never find no white dude because the skin would turn black. No, his skin was white, bro. No, it would have no choice but to turn black. That's why you see bodybuilders, they have to starve themselves a lot. When you starve, your body produces more melanin. You don't believe in the stuff they found. Your body produces more melanin to keep you alive. Why do you believe that they're black?
I'm going to say Big Mike in here right now.
Wait. You said when you starve, your body produces more melanin for what?
Yeah, to keep you alive longer.
Oh man, come on, fam. Come on, man.
That's why bodybuilders have to, like, they be trying to get the 0% fat. You know what that means?
Hey, lucky you, there's a bodybuilder in here. Let's ask him.
So homeless people, when homeless people don't be eating for days, they get darker?